Settlers of Kalguur is one of the most complicated League mechanics we've ever gotten, introducing an entire town to manage and promising to pay out big if you manage it well. I've been laser focused on Kingsmarch ever since League launch, maxing out every building, hiring the best workers I can, and exploring how to rake in the most rewards. With this guide, I'll share everything I've learned, from how to progress your town quickly to maximizing your rewards from shipping, and even a bit about the automated map device. Two things before we get started. First, there is a written guide available linked in the description below. This guide isn't going to go into all the detail about how each mechanic works, but absolutely everything related to Settlers is covered in the written guide. The written guide will also continue to be updated even after this video is released, so if you want to check back on anything that I cover in this video or see the most up-to-date version of the guide, check it out. Second, if you find this video helpful at all, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps out. And if you know someone who's struggling with Kingsmarch, send this video their way so we can all get the most out of the League mechanic. Without any further ado, let's get into it. First up, I want to talk a bit about how to efficiently progress when it comes to upgrading Kingsmarch. Getting everything upgraded as soon as possible is very important because it will cause you to generate more resources faster, as well as enable you to cash out those resources for better rewards. Early on, you're going to be gated by various resources that force you to upgrade a few buildings in a certain order. But once you're grinding through maps, those resources won't be a problem, and you'll have more freedom in how to upgrade your town. From this point forward, your main bottleneck is to getting everything unlocked will be primarily gold, with dust also being a significant bottleneck for maxing out mapping and disenchanting. At this point, your number one priority should be maxing out mining. At its maximum level, mining grants a bonus that causes you to get gold whenever you collect ore on a map, equal to the amount of ore you collected. This isn't a massive sum of gold, but it will give you 1,000 to 2,000 gold extra per map, which adds up and helps you unlock the rest of the town faster. If you're really looking to max out your town fast and your main bottleneck is gold, then my recommendation is that you farm synthesis maps. This is how I maxed out Kingsmarch so fast. Each map gives an average of about 15,000 gold and takes less than 3 minutes to clear. You can bulk purchase these maps and grind out hundreds of thousands of gold in short order, and quite a lot of quality currency to boot. Once you have gold under control, your next major bottleneck is going to be dust. As I'll talk a bit about in the shipping section, dust is a very important resource, and you'll require quite a bit of it to max out disenchanting and mapping. You're going to want to not spend any of your dust on mapping until you've maxed out disenchanting. The reason for this is that the final upgrade of disenchanting unlocks the ability to disenchant unique items. And this is a very important upgrade because unique items disenchant into significantly more dust than rare items. The amount of dust you get scales with item level, so make sure to put in high eye level rares while progressing disenchanting, and then pick up any uniques you find to disenchant once you have it maxed. Dust will continue to be extremely valuable in the endgame of Settlers, so you should set up your loot filters to show all unique items and pick them up. You're going to need them. At this point, you'll find that it's really just a matter of grinding out gold. Not just for the building upgrades, but also for workers. The final upgrade for the tavern lets you hire workers with traits up to tier 10 and gives you access to an enhanced reroll, which costs 22,000 gold per reroll. The traits may go up to tier 10, but you're almost never going to see anything higher than tier 6 without using the enhanced reroll. Even with the enhanced reroll, tiers 9 and 10 are incredibly rare. Getting a full team of tier 10 workers in your town is going to be a league-long goal to chase. In fact, I really wanted to have a full team of tier 10 workers for this video to show you what they could do, and poured tons of gold into my town to try and make it happen, but only ended up with 2. So don't expect to have your workers running tier 17 maps anytime soon. Once you have everything maxed out and your town is generating resources, there are 2 different ways to cash out with actual rewards: shipping and the map devices. I'm going to talk about shipping first. The way that shipping works is that each shipment has a shipment value. This shipment value determines the quantity and quality of rewards that you receive. As for the type of rewards you receive, that's based on the resources you ship and what port you shipped it to. I have a chart showing what you get from each resource when shipped to what port. Crops, which aren't on this chart, always reward currency items, regardless of what port they're shipped to. So, for instance, if you shipped 500,000 shipment value worth of crops to Kalguur, you'd get back lots of currency. And a 1 million shipment value would get currency back that's twice as good, which is a bit nebulous, but shipment value doesn't just scale quantity of rewards. It's not twice as much currency. The overall currency you get back is just supposed to be twice as good. Higher tier resources contribute more towards shipment value, with bars counting for 4 times as much as ore. There's a limit to how high your shipment value can go, your crew's trait tiers. As your shipment value goes up, if it goes past a certain point, you'll start to accumulate risk, which you do not want. The higher tier your crew's traits are, the higher your shipment value can be. Your final shipment value isn't just the value of all the resources you ship added up, however. There are 2 very important multipliers which multiply the shipment value and result in you getting massively more rewards. The first is Thaumaturgic Dust. There's a reason I'm telling you to pick up all those unique items to disenchant, and it's because Thaumaturgic Dust acts as a multiplier to your shipment value. Just sprinkle some in each order and watch your shipment value skyrocket. A mere 55 dust is enough to double your shipment value, and about 8,000 is enough to triple it. This is absolutely crucial. If you were to ship out a million shipment value worth of resources, you would only be able to send out 1 ship every few days because you simply wouldn't be able to get the resources fast enough. By replacing huge amounts of those resources with dust, you can make shipments, effectively, 3 times more often. The second important multiplier is quota bonuses. Each port has a list of resources they want, and if you fulfill that quota, then those specific resources you use to fulfill the quota will get the listed multiplier. Of note, smelted bars count 5 times towards quotas. So if a quota asks for 50,000 orichalcum, you only have to ship 10,000 orichalcum bars. Quotas start off pretty weak, but once you fulfill them a few times, the port will level up, demanding more resources with bigger bonuses. This is exactly what you want. More resources demanded means the quota bonus will apply to more resources. Fulfilling quotas is so important that you should not even do a shipment unless you can fulfill the quota. You're better off waiting, or else you're just wasting resources and getting back far less than you would otherwise could. In fact, I'd recommend not shipping any resources at all that aren't going towards a quota. That way, every single resource you send is receiving the maximum multipliers possible. I've tested just loading up shipments with non-quota resources while meeting the quota, and it's just not worth it. Not only do you get far less back, but you've now used up resources that could be going towards a quota on a future shipment. So I've just thrown a lot of information at you. Let me put it all together and go step by step on how you should do each shipment. Step 1. Choose your port and make sure you have enough resources to meet the quota. Step 2. Enter in exactly enough resources to meet the quota. Step 3. Add in dust to multiply your shipment value. Going past 8,000 will have massively diminishing rewards, but ideally you want to get your shipment value as high as you can with just the quota resources and dust, while still being at 0% risk. That's it. Just follow this process every time you do a shipment and you'll maximize your shipping rewards. What you're hoping for from shipping is to see a port that's requesting exclusively crops. This is your chance to cash in, because all of those crops will reward currency with huge multipliers to your shipment value. You don't have control over what quotas are available, so you just have to keep filling them until you get your shot to cash in big. The other major way to get rewards from Kingsmarch is the automated mapping devices. Fully maxed out, you can have up to 3 Atlas devices all running at once. Although, to be honest, I have no idea how you'll ever get enough workers with high tiers to staff all 3 of them. You need very high tiers of Atlas running to be able to run T16 maps. Pretty much all tier 10s, and the risk of workers dying is unavoidable. I've spent probably 1,000,000 gold on enhanced rerolls and haven't found a single tier 10 Atlas runner, let alone 18. I currently have 2 tier 9s, 8s, and 7s. Here's a selection of high tier maps and their odds of completion. From my experience, you really want to have their completion range be at least 75 to 80%, or else it's just not worth it. These workers are barely enough to run scoured T16s, and with a constant threat of them dying, it might not be worthwhile until I can get better traits. The one thing that's clear to me is that you're going to need to absolutely pour gold into re-rolling and hiring if you want these 3 Atlas devices to be farming nonstop. Given that they have at least a 1% chance to die in every single map, I think that, currently, maxed out Atlas running doesn't really feel achievable. I kinda hope GGG buffs the odds of getting high tier Atlas runners. It's pretty ridiculous right now. And as one final thing, I want to make a quick note about the bosses you can fight. I've only encountered 2 of them so far, but they're both pretty simple. For the Verisium boss, you simply have a short phase where you have to dodge attacks in an increasingly shrinking arena. And for the bandit that kidnaps your Atlas runners, you just have to dodge a few flaming arrow attacks. If you have a powerful build grinding juice T16 maps, these bosses won't pose much of a danger to you at all, so don't be scared to fight them if you feel you're up to it. That's everything I wanted to cover in this video. Don't forget about the written guide, which will continue to be updated as the community learns more, or when GGG updates and changes things. If you found this video helpful, once again, liking and subscribing has a huge impact in helping the channel out, and I'd really appreciate it. That's all for this video though, and I'll see you in the next one.